What is happening, guys? Welcome back to Red Beard's Garage. Today we're taking a 3.5 hour road trip to Dixon, Tennessee, which is kind of a neighbor to us. So it's about, like I said, 3.5 hour drive. It's a little bit past Nashville. So we're going up today and meeting EC Carburetors. Been wanting to talk with them for a long time. They got a ton of performance parts. They make a lot of parts in-house. They're an awesome company and they got a lot of experience behind them. So we're going to be partnered with them and doing some dyno videos and some part videos, some installation. Super excited about it. So when we get there, we'll show you the facility, show you some of their parts, and let you meet the crew. So let's get to it. So pulling up at EC's, you can see they have an asphalt track. So it's going to be super exciting for possible meetups. And we're here, so let's get inside and see what kind of parts they got.
How's it going?
What's happening, man?
Oh, nothing much. So yeah, this is the showroom, and I can, as George Jones say, you know, give you the grand tour.
Oh yeah, yeah, we're super pumped to be working with you guys for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We've known you guys for what? I mean, it's been 4 years since the show, probably.
Yeah, thereabout. Yep.
Yeah, they've always had some awesome stuff. Here's their Wildcat 223. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff on this on the channel. Show you the reasons why this is really the ultimate small block.
Yeah.
Honestly, small block platform.
Absolutely.
Probably going to put everything else to shame. Sorry, everything else.
Hopefully, if not, we'll make it better next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, we've got inventory throughout the whole shop. So you'll see a bunch of our cylinder heads, flywheels, connecting rods back here, engine tools, all this kind of stuff. Offices, whatnot, but yeah, you'll find me either here or in the office more times than not. So
of course, I'm like a kid in the candy store. This is all good stuff.
Oh yeah,
This is my life here.
That's the way I feel walking through here. It's like, oh, we make this, do this. It's like you have all these plans and dreams and stuff like that. We're just glad that we can be a part of, you know, everyone else's dream, if you will. You know, if you want to go fast on a mini bike, go-kart, or whatever, we just try to make sure that if we don't have it, we can make it. So if we have questions, people are like, man, it'd be great if you had this, that, or whatever. Yeah. We put that in the back of our minds, write it down or whatever, and see what we can make happen.
Yeah. So that was a big reason to work with EC is they make almost like, what'd you say, 80% of your stuff in-house?
Most of it, yep.
So like they have full 5-axis CNCs. Everything is made in-house. So they're not a distributor just pumping out product. They're making the stuff, tweaking it how you want it. Yep. So it's like, if you need something made, like if we find something that could be enhanced, they're going to do it themselves.
Absolutely.
And quality control is higher. It's better in every way. So
we can address all the issues.
Yeah, and it's going to be super sick to do all these builds, go through them, why you would want this, and at the end of the day, it's for you to decide. But we're going to prove it on our dyno and with the butt dyno. That's the best one. When you see smiles, that's when you know it's happening.
Absolutely. Usually a little bit of a mess, but that's because we work here every day, you know. So we constantly have stuff going on, constantly have development projects. I mean, there's so much that I want to say that I can't say because I have to have some secrets, you know, so that you stay interested, right? But yeah, if you guys want to come back here, we'll check out some of the machining and some of the stuff that's going on. Today's Friday. We're normally closed on this day, and that allows us time to like catch up on work, machine stuff, do our development, dyno testing and all that. So this is the back of the shop. Normally our CNC guys here developing stuff. Maybe we can come back later and show you a few things on the computer. He's probably over by the machine, so we'll go check that out.
Another cool thing they do is they 3D print a bunch of their parts before they make them out of billet, of course, for cost efficient, and it's sweet. And they do have some 3D printed blocks, and I want one for chassis, so that's awesome that they 3D print everything.
So we have basically 2 lathes and 4 mills. So almost everything's done now on the 5-axis stuff. These are our 2 latest machines. So we'll check out, see what Barry's working on. So right now we've got intake manifolds that we're running. I think these are for the PWK 24s through 28. So if you have any of those carburetors and stuff, we use the same intake manifold for them. Because the OD of those carburetors are all the same. So we're gravitating towards that carburetor as our primary slide carburetor. It just makes it a lot easier. We don't have so many part numbers, have so many parts that are very specific. That's one of the things with like Mikuni carburetors is like the TM24s versus the 28s. They're going to have two different intake manifolds, but this will work with all the PWK carburetors from 24 to 28, but it also works with the TM28, so you can use the same intake manifold for it as well. This is just another CNC running the same thing. We've got two operations going on, so it goes to this machine to that machine. It just makes production a little bit quicker and stuff. So we do more times than not one part at a time, you know, so we can set up multiple operations. So it may start on the lathe, come over to this mill and go to that mill.
So it's ready to go in the next machine, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
Just use this as kind of a holder and a way to be able to machine.
Yep, and then we'll flip it over and finish the other side.
So no Chinese?
Not in this shop. I mean, we do have engines. As most people know, most of that stuff comes from China. So there are a lot of OE parts, and there's some good, you can call aftermarket parts that come out of China. Things like Champion rockers. A lot of people use those. That's not a product that we make, and it's not something that's made in the U.S., but it's a good, cheap upgrade if you don't want to go to full rollers. So it's a good option to have. This is our robot we call Helga. She's not working today, not because she can't, it's just we don't need her today, so she's sitting right there, but maybe the next time Greg comes in we'll show you her working.
So this actually loads pieces. It'll do the work of a man by setting it in so they can work through the night and not have to run a night shift. Basically.
Essentially, that's correct. So when we get in our busier time of year, summertime or whenever, we'll have this thing running. It's pretty new, so we're still kind of figuring it out, but eventually we'll have one on this machine, and then if it works out really well, we'll have one on the other machine as well. So
with AI getting enhanced, this is probably be the factory it takes over to build itself a body.
That's exactly right.
All out billet and high performance. So
I won't have to touch anything anymore, so that would be great. So this is kind of another finishing spot, if you will. So this is our sun-in honing machine. As you can see, these are some billet blocks. I know so many people have been asking for these things, and we've been postponing it because we, you know, like any other development, we want to make sure that this is right, especially on this, because it is a high dollar component. It's not like a rod, it's not like a carburetor or something like that. This is a big chunk of aluminum, so we want to make sure it's right. Honing machine, we want to make sure it's precise. I do have, so this is part of the honing process that most people overlook. So that's a deck plate that goes on. So when you put bolts in a head, there's a certain amount of distortion that happens. So the bolts will actually twist inside the head, and you can also clamp it at the top. So if you ever get one of these blocks, like our 3-inch stuff, and you measure it without a deck plate, you may think that, oh, well, it's tapered or something like that's going on. In reality, we've accounted for the taper that you're going to get once the cylinder head's mounted to the cylinder head. So that's kind of important information.
Yeah, so this basically simulates once the head's bolted up, because if you just hone this the way it is, it's not going to be the same as when you torque down the head.
Yeah,
with
it could be 2 or 3 thousandths difference, and depending on what block, what engine that you have. With the billet stuff, it's going to be less, but with some of the cast stuff, you'll see just more distortion that happens with it.
This is what's sick. You got your standard, I mean, these aren't standard, they're all billet, but 4-bolt, then they're going to do a 6-bolt. And for those that know small blocks, you can see the bolts are really close to the bore, but down here they're far away. So this is where you get failure in a small block, where this is going to help, and higher horsepower builds, high compression to get rid of that.
Especially the bigger bore stuff. So most of the stuff's built around the 72, but if you do go to a 3-inch, having the 6-bolt, it's going to give you a lot more room. I think, if I remember correctly, we can go to 82.5 millimeters and not have any issues as far as gasket surface area, head sealing, all that kind of stuff. So we're still testing all that, but that seems to be the maximum size bore. And I can't remember for sure, but I think that'll cut you around 310 cc's with the 58 millimeter stroke.
You'll definitely be seeing these on the channel. We've been wanting to do an all-out billet everything, and that's going to be the block we're sure to use. More equipment over here. As you can see, we do a ton of cylinder heads. It's a big part of it. We should probably be called EC cylinder heads, because I probably sell more cylinder heads than I do carburetors. But Rottler seat and guide machine, valve grinder and stuff, so this is kind of where all the magic happens. Yep. Yeah. Head stacked up.
Oh yeah. Ton of work. Yep. So Though I guess really the last part, well, two last things, we'll show you the dyno room and then we'll head out to the racetrack. So this is where we assemble and disassemble a lot of our engines and stuff before we put them on the dyno. Most of the engines that we sell, whether it's like our GT2, GT1 Wildcat engines or our 228s, we actually come back here and make sure that they test fire, make sure that they idle, all that kind of stuff. So once we get done here, we'll come back to the dyno room. It's going to be a little loud because the compressor is running right now, but we'll try to shut the doors so we can pick up sound. So this is the dyno room. If you can hear me, this is where the controller is, and then we'll take you into the room. We'll show you basically the dyno wheel. Yeah, so this is the actual dyno room. It's kind of being used a little bit as storage. We've got some engines here that we just didn't have a place to put them before Greg got here. But a few weeks ago we had a 420 on it. We can do 420s, 440s, we can do small blocks, and we even have fixtures to do vertical shaft engines like these V-twins. We're probably one of the few people that can do V-twins, but I don't know if there's another company in the country that can actually do vertical shaft engines. I may be wrong on that, but it's not a super common product. But this dyno is capable of handling it and stuff. So you'll see, again, these are all test engines that we do mock-ups on, that we test individual components. We have several different levels of builds, you know, anything from a stock engine, stock repairing, opens, different displacements, so we can kind of go through what works and what doesn't work, what works best. So
yeah, normal dyno room parts,
yeah.
Carbs, especially
Everywhere.
carbs.
Oh yeah, almost everything's torn apart because we're constantly searching for more power, but also better usability. And that's one of the things that kind of, for most people, don't go hand in hand, is that it needs to start good, it needs to run good and stuff, and still make power. So.
Yeah. And I was looking at this earlier, big block with a small block flywheel. Look how much real estate's in it.
So yeah, one thing on the dyno that I didn't say earlier is that we have all the electronics that you would pretty much need for doing engine diagnostic testing, that sort of thing. So we have like O2 sensors, we have the RPM sensor for the engine, we have RPM sensors for the wheel and stuff. We have exhaust temperature, cylinder head temperature and stuff like that. So we can collect a lot of data and see what the engine's doing. So that really helps when you're trying to make combinations work in different areas. I mean, we're about 800 feet above sea level and stuff, so we can kind of dial you in pretty close. It's just if you're in Colorado and you're a mile up, you may be on your own, but those are few and far between.
So guys, it was awesome for EC Carburetors to walk us through the shop, show us some of the stuff they're working on. We got to see a lot of stuff that you guys don't know that they're working on that's going to come out on the channel later. So we're super pumped to show you all this crazy, awesome performance parts in the karting world. So EC Carburetors used to be Precision Cycle back in the 60s, and they was one of the big performance companies in the motocross world. You can actually find this across like motocross magazines from that era. And then in the 80s, they started being kind of like the pioneer of karting. They was one of the biggest companies in karting, kart racing, the driving force. A lot of their history you can find on eccarburetors.com if you want to know everything about EC Carburetors and what they're about. And I think it gives a little bit of more meaning to who you're supporting and what companies you're supporting in this whole karting world. EC Carburetors is also one of the only performance companies in the go-karting world that can build a engine from scratch 100% with their own parts. Like everything from cam, piston, rod, block, head, everything can be their parts that they make in-house, and that's huge. They have billet rockers that go all the way up to 1.5s. They find out everything to give the information to the end user, because that's what this is all about. That's the reason I started my channel, was to give information, because we went to build our very first go-kart. I was always really wanted to build a go-kart since I was a kid, because a go-kart was the closest thing, in my opinion, to a car. You know, my friends had dirt bikes and four-wheelers. I really wanted a go-kart, and every go-kart I got on when I was a kid was super slow. So that's what drove me to want a go-kart for my kids, was wanting to live those memories that I wish I would have had when I was a kid. So when I started doing this whole thing, you couldn't find any information on parts. It was people making videos, but no one was saying this is why you should use this carburetor or what this carb does, how to install it. From the CVT kits, just all this information was waiting for someone to film. And when I started with the hobby, I saw that no one was doing it. There was some people doing it, but no one was really going in depth. And that's what I set out for Redbeard's Garage to be, was entertainment and educational. And you know, we're learning as we go to show you guys the mistakes we make, and I think there's a lot of value to that. We never want to act like we're know-it-alls or anything, and I think it's really important to show you guys when we fail, and it's just going to be awesome working with EC Carburetors because we can incorporate all. If we find stuff we want to change, they can make those changes to see if it makes a difference, you know, and we could get better products out there so your money is spent better. So really exciting working with EC Carburetors. Make sure to check out the links in the video description where you can find their website, read up on their history, all the stuff they're doing in the world. We got some crazy stuff coming out, like this Wildcat 223 build. This has one of their billet rods. We're going to put a charging system off the DTV shredder because this does need to be electric start and be safe with electric start. We're going to be running their cam in it, one of their carb kits, and we're going to put this on that green Rokon bike that we showed a while back, that two-wheel drive Rokon. So we're super excited to do that, and then we'll build that bike and, you know, more and more until we see that the transmission don't handle it. So really pumped to be working with EC Carburetors. Let me know what you think about, go check them out. Let us know what you think about them. And guys, you're going to see some awesome videos with some big performance numbers. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you EC Carburetors for partnering with us. We got some exciting stuff. We love you guys, and God bless.